That's from last month. Oh, okay. This is from this month. Let's see if we can get them both on the same screen at the same time. Okay. The break goes right through here, but this piece is in multiple pieces.
That little
Yeah, it's
corner.
the tip of the greater trochanter is broken. But the distance from the tip here to here is less than a centimeter, and here it's 1.5 centimeters. So it's displaced an extra 5 millimeters. But what's a little bit worrisome to me, this hip, your artificial hip, has a plastic insert in it. And the distance from the edge of the head to the edge of the cup should be the same all the way around because the plastic's symmetric. When we look at this x-ray, the distance from here to there, I measure it at 13 millimeters. And the distance from here to here, I measure at 15 millimeters. That means the plastic is wearing out in the hip. It could be an explanation.
Oh, this was an artificial hip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be an explanation why your hip broke in the first place. As that plastic wears out, microscopic plastic particles start floating around in the hip. Your body sends cells to go eat up the plastic, to kill the plastic. It's a foreign invader. The cells eat the plastic, release destructive enzymes, proteolytic enzymes, but then what happens is the plastic doesn't die, it's already dead. The cell dies, releases those enzymes into the surrounding tissues start to get weak, and then you have a simple fall and the bone breaks. Well, what do we do about this? You are 82 years old. The last thing I want to do is take you to surgery.
Yeah.
We have to hope that broken bone will just heal. But if you want it to heal, you got to protect it. And how do you protect it?
Don't put weight.
Well, you can put weight on it. It's not the weight, it's the pulling your leg to the side that grabs onto that piece of bone and pulls it loose. And the way you reduce that is by using a walker.
Yeah.
If you just refuse to use a walker, the next best thing would be to use a cane in your left hand. It reduces the stress on the muscle.
You're getting it right.
It reduces the stress of the muscle pulling on that bone to use a cane. Best is a walker, next best is a cane, worst is nothing. If this completely displaces, the next thing that's going to happen is your hip's going to dislocate. That's the natural history. If that bone doesn't heal, eventually, especially when the polyethylene, the plastic is wearing out, it becomes unstable and then things dislocate, and then we got a real problem if your hip dislocates. So, Nancy, you're tough as nails, but my recommendation is, as a minimum, you need to use a cane. But I'd still recommend using a walker, even if you're putting full weight on your leg. Just use the walker to reduce the stress on that.
I agree that it helps a lot.
But, and then we cross our fingers and hope your hip doesn't dislocate. If it dislocates, we have to go back in, do more surgery, take that piece of plastic out, put a new piece of plastic in. But I wouldn't recommend doing that unless you have some disaster, or unless the pain never goes away. But I think once the bone heals, you won't have any pain, I hope.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my thought. I'd recommend in 3 months we get another x-ray. But you're left to your own recognizance. I'm not the hip police. I'm not going to walk around behind you to see if you're using a cane or a walker. But if you want this to heal, that's what you got to do. Otherwise, the bad news is your hip could become unstable and dislocate. Next time when you fall, your hip will pop out of socket, and then it becomes a real disaster.